touch of madness around here.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from a dark basement in a ghostly haunted dwelling. This is Paranormal Proximity, and I am your host, Paul Ieson, for all that matters. Man, I'm going to tell you what a hell of a day we've had here. Just getting to do this show was a chore. First, I had to take the grandkid, and the grandkid had to go get two teeth filled at the dentist. And then we went and we stopped at before there was welfare and before there was Social Security, the state actually paid for homes for people who didn't work. And that's where they kept these people, and they lived inside these buildings, and that was run by the state. And this place that we went to has a pauper's grave, and it's got an insane asylum, and we're going to be going back because I didn't get to take the tour because I didn't have any money on me at the time, but this place is awesome. So we did that, and then I'm supposed to have this interview with JB Coates, who is my guest tonight, and we got our times all screwed up. So it's like, okay, well, when can we do this? Well, blah, 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 blah. And then I have to go back and I have to go pick up the wife at work, come back here, and we finally get things going. At the same time that me and the granddaughter are leaving, some woman decided to blow the crossing gates at the train tracks, and she's bye-bye now. She died. And in a town real close in Findlay, I believe it was, some idiot kid decided to prank the the authorities, and supposedly there was a guy in the bathroom with two kids hostage, and it was all a prank. That's the type of day that's been going on here today. So with that, keep that in mind, and I'm going to have author JB Coates on here in a second. Let me tell you guys about her. She's an author of the Obsidian Guardian novels. She is a paranormal and ghost hunter investigator. She lives in Nashville, Tennessee. And I tell you what, she is an awesome person to talk to. Also, a few shows back, I had Cat Ward on. This is the author that Cat Ward narrates for. So without any more putting this off, welcome, JB.
Hi.
Hey.
Man, you really did have a day.
Yes, I did.
Oh, my goodness. And I thought my day was long and arduous. Man, you had a day.
Arduous.
Although you went to
There's that big word.
But you went to a huddle house?
I guess that's what it's. Well, it's Wood County Museum now. That's what it's called now.
Yeah.
But it was basically, that's where people went. And the people who didn't have any family, when they died, they put them in the paupers cemetery.
Yeah. And I know that some of them, like, people were just dropping off people at that point because they were just either like kids.
Well, yeah, they had a place for the older people. They had a place for the disabled people, and they had a place for the insane people.
Right.
And it was all ran by the state. It was supposed to be a farm, and but they had to have people come in from other parts of around the surrounding cities to help with the farming, because if people could work, then they wouldn't be living there in the first place.
That's true. Yeah. I actually saw a video on one of those a while back. I think it was in Ohio where the one that I saw was, because there was a lot of them in Ohio.
Well, there's one in Sandusky, and that's where the Confederates were. Last year I went there with a biker buddy. And we thought it was a VA hospital.
Right.
And we saw the names of Confederate soldiers, some of the paupers. And we thought they were soldiers. They were the soldiers' wives.
Oh.
But in Sandusky, or just outside of Sandusky, there's a cemetery out there where that's where they kept that's where they buried the Confederate soldiers that they had kept in prison
Right.
during the war that
Right.
passed on.
Right. Yeah.
And in Dayton was another place like what I've just described here.
Hmm.
And a further note, I went there last year and I saw this. And for some reason, I thought it was all Victorian. And I met a couple fellow authors earlier in the year, and they both got in this. I put them in a story where they were supposed to be this married couple, and they found this Victorian home that used to be a VA hospital and had a pauper's grave. So I had that on. So it's totally fiction.
Well, I mean, if it's totally fiction, you can keep it.
There you go.
You don't have to. You don't have to scrap it.
I told the curator about it, and she just looked at me like, "Okay."
So, but now you got new material because now you know what it actually is. So now you can write something else.
Well, possibly the curator already wrote a book all about the place. I asked her. I said, "Is it haunted?" And she just walked right around that, danced around that. We don't do investigations here, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay.
I didn't ask you if you do investigations. I asked you if it was haunted.
Oh, no, it's not haunted. I've been here 20 years. It's not haunted. It's like, okay.
I love that. I love that. Just willfully blind.
I want to be able to go back there and check this place. So I didn't call bullshit.
Good job.
I mean,
Good job. Good job. Look.
You know me too well already.
You're getting it. I'm so proud of you.
No, yes,
Gosh.
But
Yeah.
So,
That sounds so interesting. We don't have stuff like that around here. But we do have like battlegrounds and stuff and old forts. So I don't know like we have old hospitals. So, but I know somewhere in eastern Tennessee there is the old German uh uh concentration camp, but it wasn't really a concentration camp. Like they would bring the German soldiers over from Germany that were captured, and then they were kept on a farm like thing.
yeah.
And then they would actually go into town and buy food and stuff like that, and integrated with the community.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not sure where that is, but that would be a cool place to visit.
It would be a cool place to visit.
Yeah. And it's somewhere in East Tennessee. So maybe I'll do some research. I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll find out, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, so your website is jbcoates.com. Yeah, jbcoates.com. I'm sorry.
It was. Now I just do through Facebook. It was just easier because to keep the website up was just ridiculous.
Yeah, I have that problem with my website too.
Yeah.
So it's facebook.com/Obsidian Writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, why don't you start to explain exactly what there's a difference from talking with you last time between what you do as a paranormal investigator and what you write.
Right.
So, I have not read anything of yours yet.
That's okay.
So you need to enlighten us, everybody here. I mean, there's 10 million people watching. Just remember that.
Yay! Only? Darn. I write paranormal fiction. So there is a separation between what I do in the paranormal as an investigator and what I write in the paranormal. I use a lot of in my books, I use a lot of like urban legends. Cryptids are really big in my books. The last one that I wrote, I had water horses, kelpies, things like that. So I write the Obsidian Guardian novels, and basically it's the world there are chosen families that are infused with nature's magic. So when a family dies out, that part of nature dies as well.
Oh,
So the
damn.
yeah. So the obsidian guardians come in to protect those families so that that part of nature can stay, you know, sabbatical.
There's
So
another big word again.
I'm a writer. You have to watch me though, because I'll make up some shit and just call it a word.
I've been known to do that. My editor would go, "What the hell is this?"
And I'll be like, look, I'm a writer. If I say it's a word, it's a word.
Yeah, maybe
Right?
not in this reality, but it's a word.
That's right. So the books are the Obsidian Guardians are their soul animals during the day. They're made of snowflake obsidian. And then at night, they become these protectors. And there are female obsidian guardians and there are male obsidian guardians, and so forth and so on. So, yeah. And
And how
my
many books do you have?
I've written four.
Four so
I'm
far.
yeah, I'm halfway through the fifth one, and there's going to be six in the series.
Are you sure?
Yes,
You're not going to
yes.
just say there's six and you keep writing more?
No, no, I am not Laurel Hamilton. she she writes the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter books, and
Mm.
there was only supposed to be seven, but they put her under contract for more, and so now I think there's 26 of them.
Oh,
And
wow.
after seven, you could tell she just really was
Yeah.
tired of writing it. And I don't want to get there. I want it to end on a good note and not,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I'm only doing three in the series that I'm
right.
doing at the
I
moment.
don't want to beat a dead horse. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's going to be six books, and I've got other books also in the works, standalone novels that I'm excited about, but I just don't have the brain capacity to work on them all at the same time.
Who does? Who can do that?
I
There's no
don't
way.
know. You know, I watch these authors that like generate book after book after book every year, like 2 and 3 books a year getting released, and I'm like, how? How?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm like, do you have no other things to do in your life? Like you
apparently, I mean,
right.
the way you see some people do stuff, it's like,
Right.
you know, I mean, that's okay too. If that's how you want to live your life, go
Right.
for it, man.
Right. But for me, I've got just too much going on to sit in front of a computer 24 hours a day with an IV and a food drip. And, you know, I have to pee sometimes.
I informed everybody in my little circle or whatever you want to call it. I said, well, it's fastly becoming summer. So,
Yes.
you know, don't think I'm blowing you guys off because I'm not. I just got shit
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
mainly motorcycle riding, but
Yay! Actually, I'm going to Greece at the end of next month, so I get it. Just I get it. I'm not blowing you guys off. I just, you know, Greece. I'm just saying.
I'm getting out of here.
That's right.
See you, bye.
Actually, it is a little bit of research for me, though, because I'm going to the necropolis in Athens. And because I live in Nashville, of course, we have a smaller version of the Parthenon.
Yeah.
But I feel like going to the actual Parthenon would be more powerful in my mind than actually, you know what I mean?
It would be a whole lot more powerful.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited about that. So that I can actually.
I'm kind of envious that you're doing that.
My husband forgot Valentine's Day last year. And
oh well, that always works out really nice for you.
Yeah. I didn't guilt trip him. I was just really pissed off. All I wanted was a card, and instead I got this stupid cruise.
You're too slick is what your problem is.
So So, but that's we're going for 2 weeks. So we're going to be in Greece, Crete, Croatia, Italy. We're going to be all over there for 2 weeks.
That's freaking awesome, man.
It's going to be cool. Except I don't like to fly. So I
Oh yeah, I've already made the statement. So the wife, her sister, and a few other people are going out to Vegas, and they're going to New Mexico, and they're doing all this kind of thing. I refuse to have anything to do with the TSA. I
I'm
will not fly, not because I'm scared to not to fly. It's because I won't put up with it. I
yeah.
won't deal with that.
And see, I am afraid to fly. I didn't used to be. I used to fly everywhere and it was fine. This one flight I took had a dip. For whatever reason, it lost altitude. And now that's all I can think of in my head is that dip. Like it felt like a roller coaster, and I hate roller coasters. And now I'm afraid of flying. So, yeah.
Roller coasters are cool when you're, 50 years younger than I am.
Roller coasters are cool when you're in your 20s and you love the thrill. But when you get to be our age, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So anyway, what got you to come up with the concept to write this series of books?
Honestly, I died. So I gave birth to my best friend's son for her. His name is Zion, and he was early. I had to have an emergency C-section, and I bled to death for 2.5 minutes. When I woke up, all I could think about was like gargoyles and magic and all kinds of like really crazy off the wall things. And I sat down and I was going to write it down. And that was my first book. And I didn't know it was going to be a series until I started the second book. So, yeah.
So did you have a NDE, a near-death experience? I mean, because I've been there like 4 times, man.
Yeah. So mine, here's the thing. I did, but I didn't have the whole tunnel with the bright light.
Right. Neither did I. I've never had that.
I had tie-dye skies and polar bears. Does that make sense?
It does.
It was just rolling hills and tie-dye skies, and it was just a really, really warm, cool experience for me. But I never floated above my body, and I never saw the dark tunnel with a bright light. I never saw any of that. And so when people are like, yeah, I saw the dark tunnel with the bright light, and I'm like, why? Why are they so different?
Wow, you got me speechless there for a second.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, right?
I do know what you mean, but the last thing when I was young, I had epilepsy, and I died 3 different times, 3 separate incidents due to that. And every time I don't really remember too much about them now. Mm-hmm. But I do know that every time that I left and came back, I was pissed. I remember one time I woke up, the nurses all told me that I was bitching at them and yelling and screaming that I wanted to go back. They should have let me die.
Right.
And I felt that way for a very, very long time afterwards.
Yeah.
And this last time, while they had me open on the table, they had me on 3 different kinds of medicine to kill the pain.
Right.
But I am looking at in a laying down position, and I have this nurse sitting next to me, and I'm screaming because I'm in pain. And she's telling me, don't cuss at me. You know who I am. Don't cuss at me. I don't want you to cuss at me. You know who I'm just referring to.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
And then like 3 or 4 days after that, I started hallucinating from this damn medicine. And I saw places that if you didn't know any better, you'd think it was something like the Matrix or something.
Yes.
And I got stuck in time loops.
Mm-hmm.
And It was unbelievable. By the time I left the hospital, I was saying, Kelly, you got to get me the hell out of here. They're trying to kill me.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I feel. That's the way I feel right now.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
they were trying to kill me. And then later on, 6 months later, I find out that if you go too long, even in a normal situation without sleep, you can stroke out.
Oh yeah. You can
And
die.
it's like, okay, well, I went for 3 or 4 days without sleep because I couldn't sleep. It was the medication Michael Jackson was on. And that's why he kept asking his doctor for more medication, because his medication, you cannot sleep on it. You get to that point, but you can't sleep on it. And so I feel like, oh, well, they're just trying to kill me because they knew I couldn't sleep.
Right.
So I'm going to stroke out so that they can make more fucking money off me.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. I totally understand. If I don't have to go to the hospital, I'm not.
I don't.
No. Because I believe the business of the hospital is more important than the treatment itself.
Exactly.
You know?
1 second.
So yeah, I feel like the business of a hospital is not to cure, it's to treat. And the more treatments that they dole out, the more money they'll make.
Exactly. That's exactly what I think. So anyway, now that we've gone way off into left field, Kat Ward,
I love her. I love her.
She is the one who narrates your books.
She does. She does. And I actually met Kat through Facebook when I was doing my own podcast years and years and years ago. And she used to come on and she'd watch them and conversate with us while we were doing our podcast. And she wanted to start narrating. She said she wanted to do voiceovers or something like that. Yeah. And I happened to be in the market.
She was still working for me at that time, I think.
Yeah. I just happened to be in the market for a narrator. I needed a narrator, and honest to goodness, narrators are good, but not $4,000 good.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Because my first Immortals Among Us, Life as a Human, he did that for royalty share.
Yeah.
And he also did my time travel book, Twisted Life. He did that for royalty share. And I said, well, guess what? My the second book is out just as he finishes the first one for audio.
Yeah.
He says, well, I'm going to be needing 650 pounds. And I said, well, this one, yeah. So, I'm going like,
yeah,
but
I'm with you. And I'm like, and the royalty share part of it, I explained it to Kat. Her and I had a conversation about, she wanted, for the second book, we were talking about royalty share. And I was like, well, let's see how well the first book does. I said, because honestly, I don't want to promise you a share of something.
Yeah.
There's nothing to share. And she was like, okay. She's like, I get that. And I was like, okay. I was like, because Kat and I are very close as friends, like sisters, right?
That's what she has told me, yeah.
But I made sure when we started our agreement for the narration that I told her, I was like, we have to be able to separate business from our friendship. I said,
exactly.
Because business is business and our friendship is our friendship. And neither one should overlap.
Sound like you're part of my family. What's the matter with you? Oh, business is business.
Business.
It's business. It's just business.
So, I paid her for integrity, and I'm going to pay her for trepidation. And her and I are slowly watching, the sales for integrity go up. And when I say slowly, I mean slowly.
Snail's pace.
Yeah, it really is. But I figure the more books that are out there, the faster it'll go.
Yeah.
And so
it's that, and I'm a big believer in doing it the old-fashioned way. you go out and do book
Promote.
signings. And,
Yeah,
and
book signings. Yeah,
the book signing is the best promotion that you can do, because then you're not in somebody's face that doesn't want anything to do with you in the first place.
right. They came to you.
They came looking for books. They came
Right,
to the store that they know that there's books and all this other kind of
right.
stuff, and weirdo people in there like us.
I
You know,
love it. I love it. They're our tribe. Just strange for no reason. And you're like, yes, yes,
yes, yes, I am very strange.
yes,
And
me too.
if you only knew how strange, well, maybe I'll tell you after the show.
So, but yeah, her and I, we have, she lives rent free in my head. And I believe that I'm like, okay, Kat, go for it. You got this. Do the book. And she's like, okay. And then she does the book, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I was. And she was like, yeah, she totally. It's a sad day when you corrupt a Canadian, though.
Yes. Yes, Canadians do not like to be. I found that out with mine too.
I am slowly corrupting Canada, one Canadian at a time.
Oh, well, at least Ontario, Canada has 4 copies of my book in their library.
Nice. I'll have to send some to Kat, and she can deliver them to their.
Yeah, well, Kat was nice enough that she bought a book for herself, and then
Oh,
she
that's
bought a book for,
right.
and then she bought the book to go,
Yes.
to the library, and then she's done that with all three books,
See,
I think.
I love it. I
And
love
it's like, that's the kind of fan. I mean, she's like one of those rock hard fans.
She really is. If she likes you, you know she likes you, because she makes a point. And she's good people. Like,
She is very good people,
she's
and
not
she's
that
sweet.
stalker.
She's honest,
Yeah.
but she don't put up with no BS either.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. If she doesn't like something, she will tell you.
She will.
Yeah, she will.
As
But
she's putting her foot in your ass, she will.
yeah. And you're like, hey, do they know that you're so mean in Canada?
Canada. I like that. Canada.
And she starts laughing. I'm like, ooh, you cussed? Do they know you're cussing in Canadian? And she starts laughing. She's like, we cuss here. And I'm like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
But I love her. I love how when she originally read Integrity, like, we talked about it through Skype, and the blush from the ending sex scene was so real. And she was like, JB, what the hell?
Yeah, she told me about that.
She said, you need church. And then the second book, she called me and she's like, in the prologue, JB, in the prologue.
Warn people.
But I don't warn her on purpose. Because I want the reaction. And she's just.
But there's also this genre out called splatterpunk. And it's so disgusting and violent and
Yes.
macabish, and
Yes.
and it's like, I couldn't read that. And
See,
and I'm one who, the only thing, I've spent a little bit of time in mortuaries. The only thing that bothers me is the smell of the stomach when it gets open. Other than that, I can look at nothing else. I don't care what shape the body's in. I can look at it.
yeah.
I can deal with it, unless it's a little baby.
Yeah.
And
kids.
but I've read experts of this, and it's like, no, I can't do it. I just can't.
My daughter just read. Now, I am a proponent that authors, when they write a book, you are literally seeing inside an author's head what they think about, how their minds work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my daughter just finished reading a book about, no shit, it was a door. The door was a demigod. And in order for him to become human, he had to have sex with the tenant of the apartment he was in. Yeah, that was my look. And I was like, so did they? And she was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, with the door? Like,
Doorknob.
yeah. And so, but in my head, I'm like, what is this writer? And then the other one was an author or a person who had a sexual affiliation with balloon animals. She read that one. And then there was another one where this lady was a bomb expert. Wait for it. She was the best bomb expert, but in order for her to defuse the bomb, she had to have sex with the bomb. Now, these are things that are going through these authors' heads. Meanwhile,
And people think I'm weird.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm just like, why are you reading that? And she's like, well, she's like, TikTok said, and I was like, stop getting your TikTok book suggestions. Don't just leave it alone.
Oh, I took TikTok off my stuff. I don't even have nothing to do with TikTok.
I'm just like, just stop. Those books are not good. Those books rot your brain. Like,
between what you're talking about with and the other ones who are, they think they're successful because they might sell 100 books a month or something, and they're too good to talk to you because you only sell 2 books a month.
right.
You know, and it's like, okay, well, you know what?
Right. But we all started somewhere, right? We all started somewhere. And you know what? I might be just an author that sells 2 books a month, but I might be another person who buys your book. So you treat me like I'm a human, and I will treat you like you're a human.
Just give me some fucking respect. That's
just
all.
a little bit. You know what it takes to write a freaking book?
Oh. And then watch the editor do what they do?
Yes. Just flashing.
I'm
and
ducking,
cutting
Wendy.
and-
Don't hit me.
But I'm just like, it takes a lot to write a book. And but then to write some of the crap that I see out there,
Oh,
and I'm just like,
that
come
too.
on. Come on, you guys can do better. There are so many
That too,
things.
and the celebrities talking about, oh, I got a bestseller. It's like, yeah, because it was fucking handed to you.
Right. Zach Baggins. Yep. That book is trash. It wasn't any good.
Everybody's into Harry Potter. It's just Star Wars under a different genre.
It is with magic. It's Star Wars with magic. Yeah. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm like, I understand that you can't but I understand that you want to come up with something new, but it's a door. And apparently my daughter told me that the door was birthed from a tree that a god had sex with. That's why the door is a demigod. When does that get fun? I'm thinking Splinters. When do you look at a tree and go, man?
Since when are the gods are that hillbilly? I mean,
That
fuck.
tree, sexy as hell, man. So, but these are the things that go through these writers' heads. And I'm like, are they going for the more twisted, more better? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like they're going for the more twisted, more better, the shock and awe of it, instead of actually sitting down and telling a credible, good story.
There's, yeah, but you do have to give credit to that kind of a sick mind, though.
Yeah, because I couldn't have done it.
I couldn't have done it.
Can you imagine me on your show being like, so I wrote about a door, and the door's a demigod? No.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, It's not anything that'll be published on Oprah. But
No, it
who
won't.
cares?
Yeah, yeah.
Who
Nobody
cares?
cares. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. So I mean, I wrote my books, and I've got ideas for other books, and none of it involves weird demigods or weird sexual encounters. Sorry guys, hate to put it to you like that. If that's what you're looking for, you're not going to find it at JB Coates' booth.
Yeah, okay, so fine. We can whatever. I
End
guess
the
I'll just
show.
go home now. Oh wait, I'm already here.
We're already home. So
So,
yeah,
all right. So now that you have thoroughly screwed with people's minds,
I'm proud. End of show.
what kind of things do you do as a paranormal investigator?
I am a big fan of the Estes experiment and the human pendulum. I really like those. The Estes more so because the Estes experiment, should I explain it? Like,
Yeah, because people don't understand.
okay, so the Estes experiment is basically eyes covered, ears. You have like a spirit box or some kind of a spirit app playing in your headphones, in noise canceling headphones. Meanwhile, the person outside is asking questions, and you are just calling out the words that you can make out. So inadvertently, you are answering their questions when they ask them. So I like it because it cuts out the middleman, so people can't. One, you don't get three different types of. Well, did they say said? Did they say were? Like you don't get that.
Yeah,
You also don't get somebody trying to answer the questions in some kind of loophole because they can't hear the question, so they don't know what they're saying. So I like that in the Estes experiment because it really does cut out a lot of the what ifs and debunks a lot of. I do it in the body box at OSPH, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital PRC,
yeah.
and I do it over at Old Harriman Hospital PRC. And then the human pendulum, a pendulum, as you know, is on a chain, a whether it's amethyst or quartz or on the end of a
Or
chain.
what? It doesn't matter what it is, but yeah.
It really doesn't. Whatever your strikes your fancy. So it goes back and forth for yes, front and back for no, or whatever, right?
Whatever you assign to it.
Right. So what I do is I take 5 people, right? And I put 4 on the outside and 1 on the inside. Okay. And essentially, the spirits use the energy from the 4 people on the outside to rock the person in the middle back and forth, front, back, whatever, to answer yes or no questions. Yeah. So that one's fun. I've got about 80% positivity with that one. Sometimes you get somebody who gets in the circle and believes that they have to put on a show. And I try to tell them all the time, like, you guys don't have to put on a show. If it's not happening, it's not happening. Just leave it alone. But there are people who get in and are like, let me just bend at the waist. You know? Or let me just throw myself at the person in front of me. So, but yeah, that's the human pendulum, and you get yes or no answers on that one too. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
We had one where we had a 6'7" white guy. No lie. He was tall. He was in the middle. And the spirit that came through was a 5'2" black woman who hated white people.
Hey, that always works.
That's right. It was ironic as hell. It was great. It was so fantastic. It was a great time. So yeah, those 2 I like to do. Also, I like to teach people proper equipment etiquette. You know, when you're doing an EVP session, you don't whisper. You know, you tag your sounds. If you farted, say I farted. I need to know you
I
farted.
farted, man.
Yeah. Sorry,
There.
man. That was my butt. You know, whatever. But also, like, terminology is a real big thing with me because people are like, you know, this is my EVP. I'm like, no, that's your audio recorder. they're like, they're like, I'm like, EVP is you're in the act of getting an EVP with your audio recorder. That's an audio recorder. You know what I mean? I want them not to sound dumb when they're recording themselves on TikTok. Which,
Oh, here we go with TikTok again.
well, you know what? It here recently, within the last 6 months, you would be surprised how many people come to events and the first thing they do is set up a tripod with their phones and start recording for TikTok. And
I
so,
wouldn't be surprised at all.
yeah, it's
It's
viral. People want to see paranormal
and
investigators.
TikTok's going bye-bye anyway.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they say. I feel like in the end, if you're going to record for TikTok, at least sound intelligent about it. You know,
At
if you're
least
gonna,
have your facts straight about it. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. I don't want you to be on any platform where you have millions of people who have access to you and they're all looking at you like you're a fucking idiot. I don't want that.
Or
So
worse, they believe everything coming out of your mouth when you don't
and
know what you're talking about.
I think that you're right. That is the worst part. It's like all the people who watch the paranormal shows and decide that's what they're going to do for a living.
Mark Twain said it best. He said a lie will travel around the world in lightning speed while the truth drowns,
Yes,
or something to that effect.
it was something to that effect. He said, "While the truth travels at a snail's pace, while the lie will travel at lightning speed."
Yeah.
But he's right. And so they take all of these things that they've learned from these paranormal shows and they try to apply it to real life paranormal investigation.
When they don't realize those paranormal shows are crap in
It's
the first
yeah, yeah,
place.
yeah. It's all Hollywood. It's all production. And so, you know, and then they're like, I don't know why I don't have 5 million followers. And I'm like, well, I've been doing this for 18 years and I don't have 5 million followers. Like, you know, I I don't understand why you're so
I
upset.
have 300 followers maybe on YouTube. And out of that 300, 12 people might watch anything I put up there.
Yes, you
You
are
know,
exactly
that's the reality of my life.
right.
So, you know,
It's the reality of most of our lives, even on YouTube. It doesn't matter what platform you use. You know, somebody will like one video and decide to subscribe, but never watch another video,
exactly.
you know? And so, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So these people have a huge, rude awakening. And then those are the ones that get angry. Those are the ones who want to tell you that you're dumb or you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, look, I've been doing this for a long time. I know what I'm talking about. Now, am I an expert? No, because
No,
there's no experts in,
there's no
yeah,
experts in this.
this, you cannot scientifically equate anything to what we're finding because paranormal investigation is a pseudoscience. It's always going to be a pseudoscience, no matter what, because until the government comes out and says, yes, there are ghosts, we're screwed, kind of like aliens.
And most that's a whole nother ball wax. I'm not gonna go. I mean, because well, yeah, okay, whatever. No, so anyway, now that we're done bashing fucking TikTok,
Sorry.
tell me about your paranormal Well, give me a paranormal investigation or a ghost hunt or something. Give me a couple of those interesting ones and tell me about them.
Well, the one that I sent you the video for was I was at a place called Audubon Acres out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Audubon Acres is an old plantation, but it's also where the Trail of Tears started. Um, when I got there that day, I thought it was just a wildlife reserve because that's what it is now. It's a
Yeah.
wildlife reserve. And so the uh, the tour guide and tour guides, right? So they love the history, but they don't read the room. So I'm standing there and the guy's like, yeah, so this is where, the slaves were sleeping on the ground in the. I'm just like, and he's got this big smile on his face, like he's happy about it. I'm just like, okay. But anyway, so he's telling us the history of Audubon Acres. And I looked at my partner at the time and I was like, I don't think I like what this place stands for or stood for. I was like, it just seems so sad, right?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. And from that point on, I was a target. It started off in the cabin when I was leaving the cabin. I had done an isolation and I was leaving the cabin. And as soon as I stepped over the threshold out of the cabin, I got 3 scratches down the back, the middle of my back
Oh, damn.
from the I can't even reach it, from my shoulder blade all the way down. So then after that, we were doing an EVP session in the conference room. We're just doing it. We were ending it. In fact, my partner even said, well, thank you for speaking with us. If you speak with us, we were both sitting in folding chairs, and I felt my ponytail just like being played with, and I like shook it, and then suddenly in the video you can see my ponytail lift up and I got jerked backwards out of a folding chair 2 feet. So from what I said earlier to the end of the whole investigation, I was a target, and I've never been attacked since. I wasn't attacked before. It was just that particular instance that I got attacked at.
Just because you said you didn't like the
I
place.
didn't like the place. Hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was at Octagon Hall. We were doing the Estes experiment, and through my person who was under the Estes, the spirits asked me if I was a freed colored. Are you a freed colored? Yeah.
And your reply?
I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, I pay taxes just like every
That's
other
right.
motherfucker.
That's right. I got bills.
I'm a slave to the government just like the white man.
Right. That's just like the white man. But yeah, they wanted to understand me, and I live in the South, right?
Yeah.
And so a majority of the places that I am going to go to are very racially charged, whether it be that it was a plantation or it had ties to a plantation or it was owned by a white man who really didn't like blacks or whatever it might be. So I get a lot of interaction mostly because I'm black and not just, the average paranormal investigator.
Okay.
I mean, mostly.
Mostly.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's black people don't paranormal investigate.
No, they don't. That's
No,
why
they
when you
don't.
told me that you were a paranormal investigator, I'm going, wait, what the fuck's up with this?
I'm half white. No.
Yeah, okay.
Well, the thing is that I have actually been seeing in my events, actually, I have been seeing a lot more African Americans who have bought tickets and come to the events. And I think they're starting to come to terms. But most black people don't mess with ghosts. They don't.
Oh
That's
hell no! They run out the house and they
yeah,
don't come back
exactly.
in.
Exactly. If a ghost was to be like, get out, they'd be like, woo, gotta go. you know?
Yeah.
where you get a white couple and they're like, did you hear something?
Oh, that felt good.
That's
No.
right. That's right. Most black people are like, that's some white people shit. And I'm like, okay, but I do it. I do it and it's fine. But no, they just don't do it. And the more that I meet, there's one up in Pennsylvania, and he's a paranormal investigator, and he's black. He's actually blacker than me because he's all black. I'm only half black.
You know what I told you last week or whatever? I don't give a fuck what you are.
Yes,
You're
did tell me.
human. That's
I am
enough not
human.
to like people.
But it sucks that the paranormal is so dominated sometimes because people get shocked. I had a woman come to me one day. She had looked me up on Facebook, and apparently my Facebook picture portrayed me as a white woman. She was expecting a white woman, not a black woman.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen pictures. Pictures don't,
Yeah.
always show things.
Right. I
Like,
guess I was lighter in that picture.
it's like, right now I'm looking at you, my face is all red. But when you look at me, I'm whiter than white.
You're Native American.
I am a fucking wop, dear. I am Italian. And I got really light skin for being Italian. But there's a reason for that.
Wait, but do you tan?
My legs don't tan.
Your legs don't tan?
Oh, no, I don't know. They don't
But
tan.
on the motorcycle, do you
My
tan?
arms, they get dark. They
Yeah,
get
yeah.
dark like you would expect an Italian wop
Yeah. See? See?
to get dark.
It's a good dark. That's that olive.
But
That's
under
that
my shirt,
melanin.
I tell you what, I am so white to blind you.
We call that moon burnt.
Okay. Keep it up. I'm going to sick my deer on you.
Please don't sick your deer on me. I love your facial expressions. You're just like, damn it. But yeah, when I'm not writing and I'm not doing paranormal investigations, I'm crafting for the Etsy store and I'm raising kids and just, normal human being type things. I mow lawn. I mow. I'm the one who mows. My husband does not mow. Yeah. Yeah. And I prefer it that way. But my husband does dishes, laundry, and cooks.
Covington, Kentucky, there's the TGI Fridays.
Is there?
I was a line chef there.
Really?
Yeah.
So you cook?
I cook. I was a line chef at the Maumee Bay Brewing Company in Toledo.
Really?
Yeah. So I cook.
My brother.
I cook. I wash. I don't do windows.
You don't do windows?
But I mow the lawn. I fix the car. I do whatever needs to be done.
You do it all.
I do it all.
So my brother, who lives in Tacoma, Washington, he's actually the head chef of Stanley's restaurant, but he also started off as a line cook at TGI Fridays.
I tell you what, I hated TGI Fridays.
He did too.
I could not stand it. And the worst part about it is that you worked at TGI Fridays and you couldn't afford to eat there.
No. And that's what he said. He said, and then they closed. So they sent everybody home the night before, right?
Yeah.
And then put up signs in the middle of the night saying that they were permanently closed and didn't tell anybody.
That's because they knew nobody come in the day before.
Yeah. Yeah. So they closed, but they didn't tell any of the employees. They didn't tell any of the employees that
I
they.
hate it. Well, I know several businesses have done that over the years.
That
And
is underhanded bullshit.
it is.
That is underhanded because you know what? Without your employees, you wouldn't have had a business to begin with.
Right.
And so you did them dirty for no reason. But yeah,
Seems to be the American way anymore.
you know, it's so sad, but it is. It is. It is sad that most of the American corporations will undercut the people who are building them instead of cutting themselves.
Well,
Does that make sense?
it's sad that people will spend $100 on a product that
Mm-hmm.
they know that is only going to last a year or two, and they
Mm-hmm.
have to buy the same product again.
Mm-hmm.
Where back when we were growing up, that product would last 40 years.
Yeah, and if it broke, you fixed it.
And
You
if it
didn't.
broke,
Yeah,
you fixed it.
that's right.
Exactly. You fixed it because you weren't going to pay nobody else to fix it.
Exactly.
So you
Exactly.
fixed it.
But you see it a lot, not just in business, but in marriages nowadays too. You see what I'm saying? The divorce rate is through the roof. And instead of fixing what's broken, they get rid of the whole thing.
Well, half of them don't belong being married in the first place. They don't realize that you need to have them as a best friend first off. They don't realize ain't nobody belong on my goddamn phone. Ain't nobody belong in my wallet. It doesn't
Right.
matter unless I tell you to get into my wallet for something.
Mhm.
You don't get into my wallet. I
That's
don't have
right.
to worry about you getting in my wallet.
Right.
Trust is a big issue in a
It is.
relationship.
It
And
is.
if you got to worry about somebody being in your phone or being in your wallet or your purse or whatever, then there's
a
something
problem.
wrong with that from
Yeah.
fucking get-go.
Yeah, there's a problem. Yes, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. So yeah, I think that we're coming into a throwaway generation where it's just easier to throw it away than fix it. And it's really, really going to hurt us because the bottom line is not us. The bottom line is the money. And we're not making the money, but we're throwing it away and spending the money.
People are still spending the money that they don't have. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Exactly. So if
Well, Ohio's got this thing, and for the old people, so they don't realize it. And about the time this show comes out is when this is going to take effect in May. And there was a program that allowed senior citizens and kids that were in school to get cable internet for half the price. Funds have run out. And so people aren't going to have internet because when funds run out, instead of paying $80 a month for your internet at full price, regular price, they're going to jump that up to $120 when you're on a program, you're paying $50. And so they don't realize how they just screwed themselves.
Mm-hmm. And I have internet. I don't have cable. I have internet because I have to have internet, but I cut my costs at cable. I can stream whatever I want.
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't have cable TV.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had cable TV in years.
Right.
And as soon as this TV I have dies, I will never have another Samsung as long as you live. Because no, I want free TV.
Right.
I want I want. I don't want free internet TV.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
You know, and it's if they want to take my internet away, so be it. Yeah. I don't really care. The only time I need internet actually is when I'm dealing with my publisher or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The rest of the time, I'm not one of these kids that get on and do gaming.
No, I'd rather read a book, honestly.
Yeah, especially mine.
Yeah. No. Or mine. I read mine over and over. Oh no, I'm just
kidding. Read mine.
I tell you what, I'll read yours, you read mine, and then I have been reading Darcy Coates. She is a new horror writer out of Australia, and she is rivaling Stephen King, actually. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I really enjoy reading her books. I enjoy reading her books mostly because it's straight to the point. Like, it's horror, but it's straight to the point horror. Whereas Stephen, he writes
Stephen takes 10 pages to tell you how he's going to wipe his butt.
right, right.
And
He's
I
very
cannot
long-winded.
stand that. That's why I write the way I write. I
Me
write like you were
too.
just talking. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, me too. And so I think that's the reason why she's rivaling Stephen King, is because people would rather get to the nitty-gritty than have to, oh my God, all these characters that are all throwaway characters for no reason. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah, well, when you read my book, you'll get to hear about how Bigfoot's hanging off of a UFO.
I love it. I love it. That's the one thing I don't do. I don't do cryptids and I don't do ufology, mostly because I don't do outside. So I need indoor plumbing mostly. I need some kind of structure.
And here you were trying to tell me you weren't black earlier.
I told you, I'm half white. That's where my black ass comes into picture. But I'll look out the window and wave at you as you're hunting for Bigfoot, but I'm not trying to like get hit in the head with a boulder or
Oh, well, yeah. But see,
and then the
all
whole
you have to do is bring them some milk and cookies.
good luck. And then the whole UFO thing, like, I'm not into butt stuff, so like I just can't get into it.
Me and you are gonna have a talk.
Tell me I'm not fun though.
Oh, you're fun. And don't think it's not that kind of talk. You're married. So
Wait, we're married.
yeah. Well, no, we're not married. But,
No, we're not married, but we are married.
We are married. Yeah.
But I can't do the outside. I don't like the cold. We talked about this. I don't like the cold. And a lot of like the cryptid hunts and stuff like that happen in the wintertime. Why? I don't know. I guess Bigfoot only comes out during the winter months, but
No, Bigfoot's out all the time, man.
but you can only see him during the winter months. Why do they only
It
hunt
depends
Bigfoot
it depends on the old white dude you're talking to.
Got it. I don't understand hunting Bigfoot in the cold.
How much moonshine that hillbilly had that day, you know what I mean?
You right. You right. But and then the UFO thing, I believe you. Like, I don't have to see it. Like, I believe you. I don't have to be out there in the cold in the middle of the night and then most of the UFO parties turn into parties.
Well, I've never been to a UFO party.
So,
but, I lived in Sedona, Arizona, where half the town is supposed to be underneath a UFO.
Yes. So they talked about, I had a guy come in and he was like, yeah, we're having a UFO party. We've got all the telescopes out, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm going to need this handle of Bacardi and this and I was just like, well, yeah, you're going to see UFOs. Y'all are going to be trashed.
I'm going to drink till I see some aliens.
That's right. And I'm just like, no thanks.
Yeah. All right. So I got to thank you very much for the interview.
You're very welcome.
It was fun. It went fast.
Yeah, it did.
We're for the Book Asylum and Word Peddler Society. This is Paranormal Podcasts. And we hope you enjoyed the show. Until next time, we will see you. Bye.
Bye.